What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And today, people, there's a lot of transfer news to talk about. And you know what? I'm just hoping that one of these days during the transfer window, I'm going to start the show. I'm going to talk about a big signing. We're going to get through the interview. We're going to celebrate. This is the strangest summer transfer window, probably since that Peter Cech one, when Arsene Wenger was the manager, when we only signed one player. What is going on? Like, where are the signings, people? What is actually happening at Arsenal at the moment? It's very frustrating, and big up to everyone who tuned in for yesterday's show and the show I did with Turkish, the OGs, last night. The news of Eddie Nketiah broke while we were live, and that obviously Arsenal have rejected an offer from Forest for Eddie Nketiah. Although there are a lot of reports that that deal is going to happen, but I just don't know what's going on at the moment. And as we said, we've actually made a lot of progress as a football club, got ourselves into a situation where, come on, we can get Manchester City this season if we get this window right. And it just feels like we're sitting on our hands. And what is the reason? Is Arteta happy with the squad? Is Edu not able to negotiate big transfers? Or are the Kroenkes tightening the budget and saying, listen, you've challenged twice for the league. You spent 200 million last year and you're not spending big this season. I don't know. I think as fans, we want to know the reason why we haven't gone for it more in this window. The only reason I'm kind of chilling at the moment and not going too crazy, there are 10 days left of the window. I do think a lot of things are going to happen in the next 10 days. But the window closes next Friday at 11 p.m. And when you think we've only made one signing between June and August, how much are we going to get done in the next 10 days? I don't know. I don't know where the issue is laying. A lot of people blaming Edu, or is it the Kroenkes? But we'll see. I'll try and be patient. We did win at the weekend. We have got a massive game this Saturday. And we need to get 3 points. That is the main thing about Arsenal at the moment. But we'll see. What are you guys thinking? Sam said, why are we not getting business done early? Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, again, the angle I'm kind of looking at it is, if the money's not there, you can't get the deals done early. It's funny, we only really completed Calafiori once Smith Rowe had agreed to go to Fulham. So it almost feels like one in, one out. Is the Mikel Merino deal being delayed because we haven't yet sold Eddie Nketiah? That's the only logical explanation for me. I've heard Eddie is holding out for Madrid. Next Friday, 5 p.m, we have the Champions League draw. Wow, I'll be doing that, definitely. Big up C and the unit. C unit business. Our club continues to lack real ambition. It's frustrating. It is frustrating. I actually don't think the money is there. I'll be honest, I don't think the money is there. I just don't see Arteta sitting there with a whole heap of money and not doing anything. He knows how good Pep and Man City are. He's worked with him for years. There's no way, in my opinion, Arteta sitting there with 100 million in the kitty and just saying, I don't need anyone. I think he's a clever enough guy to know he needs that money. I think either Edu is struggling to do deals, which there seems to be a lot of attainable players in the window. So I'm even thinking, I'm throwing a lot of the blame at Edu, but I'm even thinking, is it the Kroenkes as well? But we don't know. That's the difficulty. I reckon Arteta is fuming with Edu. I honestly think, and you know me, people, I've been critical of Arteta at times. I also give him his praise when he deserves it. I think the football club have let Mikel Arteta down this summer. I really do. That's the only way I can. He must be thinking, I've dragged us into a title race 2 years in a row. Declan Rice was a fantastic signing. I think Timber would have been if it wasn't for the injury. Havertz has improved massively. You've got so close to them. They've sold Alvarez, haven't really strengthened. Savio's come in. You had the opportunity to throw down a benchmark window, go and get 3 or 4 signings, put a whole heap of pressure on Man City, and you've delivered him one defender. I'm sorry, they've let him down this summer. They've let him down. But as I said, there's 10 days to rectify it. So Man City look like they're going to get Gundogan back, which is an interesting one. that leaked about a week ago, and I wasn't so sure about that, but it looks like Gundogan is going to return to Manchester City, and we know Gundogan is a clutch player, super clutch. Right, let's get into the show. Big up everyone locked in. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. C-Unit Business. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's talk about Mikel Merino, because to be honest, it's now getting to the point, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know where we're at with this guy now. Do I even want this guy to sign for us anymore? Do I not want him to sign for us? I thought we'd signed him. Yesterday they said, oh, don't worry, he's flying in, he's doing his medical. We've then heard two crazy things over the last 12 to 14 hours. So last night we heard from the Real Sociedad manager, Emmanuel Alguacil. I hope I haven't butchered his name. Real Sociedad manager. He said there are no two players like Merino and Lenormand. Lenormand has obviously just signed for Atletico Madrid, Spanish centre-back. He said, but they are not here. By him saying that was almost implying Merino's gone. You know, it's a done deal. He said, I can't even say Zubimendi will not leave at the last minute. They are irreplaceable players for us. We cannot look for excuses when these players are not here. Everything's rosy in the garden. The deal's getting done. The Sociedad manager is referring to Merino as they are not here. Part of two players that are obviously going to leave the football club. Cool, no problem, no panic. Then, just as I'm about to go on stream, this story breaks and it's all over the timeline. This is a radio station apparently over there in Spain. Breaking news. Arsenal's €30 million plus €5 million in add-ons bid for Mikel Merino has been rejected by Real Sociedad. The Spanish club have set Merino's price at over €40 million. Now, I've been doing a whole heap of Google Translate to try and get through the details of why we heard a week ago they wanted €35 million. We've offered €35 million. They're now asking for 40. There are two stories going around. One of them is saying that Sociedad are not happy with the add-ons that Arsenal are putting in the deal. So they're saying, we don't like the way you're structuring that, so we want more money. Basically, they said 30 plus 5, but they wanted the €5 million add-ons to be easily attainable. Things that he's definitely going to get. They're saying, we're not happy with those €5 million. We're not sure whether we'll get that 5 million. So actually, we want 40. Now, again, first of all, this is not necessarily gospel. This is a radio station. You know what I mean? It could be pirate radio from back in the day. Remember them old school radio stations in London back in the day? But listen, that's what they're saying. Now, my thing is this. I'm trying to think. If this was true, how would I operate if I was Arsenal at this point? Is he worth €40 million? You know, they're saying Fabian Ruiz at PSG is at that sort of ballpark. So this is a crazy one. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this deal now. At €30 million, 35, I'm like, that's not a bad deal. At 40 and above, I'm like, are they actually... This is a guy, 28, with a year left on his contract, who's never really done it at the top level. If we're talking, has he ripped up the Champions League? Has he, you know, okay, he was part of the Spanish squad that won the Euros, but he wasn't a starting lineup player. I just, as much as I like Arsenal to just get deals done, also, don't let them take the mick. They really could do with getting this deal done as well. And like you've said there, Lay, Arsenal could sit back and say, we'll take him on a free next season when his contract expires. But again, you know, as Arsenal fans, we want to see it happen now. Go get Ruiz, perfect for the 8 role. I much prefer him. Yeah, I like Fabian Ruiz. I'm a big fan of him. He had an unbelievable Euros. But But then you could say, it's a difficult one. What do you guys make of it? Matt Southern said, see, if you go and cut the check for the best available, you wouldn't have these problems. Stop going for these so players. I hear you on that. I think sometimes something that I think is different with us and Manchester City at times, and we may not have the financial strength of them, and I understand that. City bought, let's just say, for example, City bought Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne's been in that team for how long? He hasn't come out of that team. They've signed Rodri. Rodri will be in that team until he's, no longer that player. I think what I'm trying to say here, like you said, when you buy cheap, you buy twice. Now, sometimes you find bargains, Saliba at 27 million, Odegaard at 35 million. But I think when you need a player, when you need a striker, when you need a goalkeeper, when you need a centre midfielder, buy the very best that you can afford to buy in the hope that he is going to be good enough to stay in that position for a number of years. City spent 60 million on Rodri. You don't need a Rodri replacement for 5, 6, 7 years because he's that good. Haaland will be there for a number of years. De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, they all cost big money, but they've all said, listen, yeah, I might cost you 50 million, 60 million, but you're not going to need a replacement for the next 5 years. Rather than going for Fabio Vieira's 35 million, short-term Jorginho, who was more of a squad player, so maybe I'm not using the right example there, but I think at times Arsenal have tried to cut corners with transfers, and it's ended up costing us more money in the long run. And that's sort of the problem here. This deal on paper looks so simple. I don't understand why it's become so complicated. Kimmy said the club moves like we're using Groupon. I'm telling you, we're turning up for negotiations with vouchers, ripping things off cereal boxes, trying to get a little bit of discount. It's crazy. And you're spot on. I said for years, about that. When Van Persie left Arsenal, we did it year after year. Instead of going 50 million Luis Suarez, go and win the title, we went Giroud, Podolski, Lucas Perez, Danny Welbeck. We signed striker after striker after striker and probably didn't replace Van Persie until Aubameyang. So it probably took us 6 or 7 strikers to get it done. I'm going to put a poll up about Mikel Merino. Listen, we don't know the full details of this. Are they trying to bump us or are we cutting corners? But would you go to 40 million for Merino or do we now walk away? Craig David Settings, I'm walking away. Do we walk away, people, and go and get someone else? Listen, I'll be totally honest, and people might say, oh, you're capping because you might not sign him. If you said to me now 40 million gets you Fabian Ruiz, I'm out of that Merino deal real quick. Because Fabian Ruiz was unbelievable in the Euros. Would you pay 40 million for Merino? For me personally, I think we're getting bumped at 40. But maybe we created this mess ourselves, because of the structure of the payments. It looks like we're acting cheap. You look at Ugarte, he's about to join Manchester United, loan with an obligation. PSG are looking to sell players. Maybe we could go and get Fabian Ruiz. The Eze release clause has finished, Jason. So 60 million, he would be more now. That's the problem. I think it was until the 15th of August or something like that. It's not about cost if he's the right player. Pay the effing money. And listen, do you know what? One thing I totally agree with there. I always say, if Arteta wants the player and he's the manager that you're backing, give him what he wants. And if it doesn't work, then it's on him. Mikel Arteta apparently has spoken to him on the phone. He's lined him up as that left-sided replacement, left centre midfielder, probably the Xhaka replacement. It's 30 million or whatever, plus add-ons, which should be cheap money. We paid that for Fabio Vieira, who's been a disaster. So if he wants him, and again, this is where I look at the club, why have you not delivered him? Why have you not delivered him? It's an easy deal to get done. Listen, I said Merino is a good player. I wasn't singing and dancing about him. I felt we could sign a better player than him. But why have you not delivered him? I don't know. It's a crazy situation. Ayodeji said, just walk away from the deal. Go for Fabian Ruiz. Fabian is available for loan plus obligation. Get Merino on a free next season. Listen, me personally, if you could get Fabian Ruiz, I would go for him over Merino. Listen, as I always say, this source is not a notable source. So this could just be speculation and the deal could still be in motion. But there are a number of outlets who are running with it to say, look, there is some legs in it. And rumours coming out of Spain are that the deal has been rejected. So it's an interesting situation. I'd almost got to the point psychologically where I was just like, Merino's already an Arsenal player. I'm not even excited when I talk about him because I thought we'd already signed him. But it's crazy. Polsky said Fofana went for 25 million, much better than Merino. You know, on this channel, if you watch on a regular basis, I was saying Arsenal should have bought Fofana from Monaco. I think he's about to join Milan, AC Milan. 25 million is cheaper. I don't know. Matt said, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is if this is true. Edu is being forced to do his job and showing how incompetent he is when the rubber meets the road. It feels like that. It feels like Edu is struggling to get deals done. Which is crazy because last summer we were singing his praises, getting Declan Rice out of the hands of Manchester City. Something crazy going on here, but we'll have to see. The details will reveal themselves. Maybe the deal is still on track and this is nothing to panic about. I hope that is the case. But we'll see. Highbury's local badger. I wanted Fofana as well. I'm fuming. DV said, fans want Arsenal to pay the asking price of other clubs, but fume when Arsenal stick to their value of Eddie. Make it make sense. I'll give you my explanation. I can't speak for everyone. The situation we're in is it's separate to any other club. So when I say this I'm saying, if Forest offered 25 million for Eddie, take the 25 million. And then I'm saying pay the price tag that they want because we are chasing greatness. And you don't get greatness by penny pinching. Eddie at 25 million, you rejecting that offer is worse than keeping him going into next season and him stopping us buying somebody else. So you might think, you're being a bit of a contradiction by saying, sell Eddie below the asking price, but pay the asking price for players we want. Bro, we've waited 20 years. We've waited 20 years. Like, we've been patient enough as a fan base. We've bought the merch. We watched the games. We've put the energy into the football club. We've seen Man City consistently win trophies. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Eddie is worth more than 30 million. I don't think he is. Because what people have to always factor in is the wages. And this is what I keep saying. The wages and the age of the player brings down the price tag. Under normal circumstances, you might get 30 million for Eddie Nketiah. When you factor in that he's 25 and he's on 100 grand a week, 30 million is a very expensive deal for him. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. LSU said 35 plus 5 final offer. Turn to Ruiz. Merino for free next year to replace Jorginho. I would turn and go for Ruiz if they ask for more. Big up Fitz. Hope you're well, bro. He said, if we don't end up with a centre mid, a right wing and a striker, this will be an abysmal window at a crucial time. Please stop making excuses for Edu. Enough. Nah, listen, I hear you. Listen, I'm saying Edu is definitely at fault. But what I'm saying is, if he's being given pennies by the Kroenkes, he can't work miracles with that, can he? We don't actually know where the blame lies. I'm looking at both of them, to be honest. What I am saying is the manager's being let down by the board. If he's spoken to this guy personally and he's given him the nod for the deal, why is the deal not done? I don't know. SG said, in my opinion, the Kroenkes' main target was top 4. If their ambition was to win the league, they would spend it on winning quality players. because Arsenal's PR is elite. The fan base will lap it up. Exactly, bro. And they know this. They know this as well. The owners know they can get away with it. Because what they will do, they will feed out the excuses to the major, channels and pages, and they will lap up every word of it. Every single word of it. That, we haven't, financially, we're not there, and PSR. Arsenal using PSR excuses. I don't know if anybody's seen that today. Arsenal are now saying that, we've got to be very careful because of PSR. So, let me bring this story up. I actually didn't have this ready to go, but I just came across it, and I heard something earlier. So, Gunnar Blog, who's a good Arsenal blogger, but gets, little bits of insight at times from the club. Arsenal are mindful of the need to adhere to the PSR regulations, ensuring they meet the criteria now, but also keeping flexibility around their spending potential in the future. Balancing incoming with outgoings is the optimal way to achieve that. Now, this morning on TalkSport, there was a guy on there called Stefan Borson, who is a PSR and financial expert. He was on there saying, I don't know where this story is coming from because Arsenal are not struggling with PSR. He said they make more money than nearly every club in the Premier League. They got back in the Champions League last season, made nearly 100 million. And yet they're coming out saying PSR. When you look at the actual facts of what's happened in this window, we've signed David Raya for 27 million. We signed Calafiori for just under 40 million. So we've spent around 67 million in this window, right? And we've sold Smith Rowe for 34, and we sold Norton Cuffy, and we sold Beerus. So we've made 40, we've spent 67. So we've spent 27 million in this window. We spent 27 million in this window when it comes to the balance sheets. And you're telling me Arsenal can't get a £30 million midfielder brought in? How much money did we have to spend in this window? It's crazy. If they knew this was the case, let's say this is the case, and profit and sustainability is, stopping us from buying because of the 200 million window, how come we haven't sold players? Why are we rejecting offers for players if we're desperate to sell? It kind of contradicts itself again. So, as I said, they're feeding it out there. Oh, PSR, we're borderline, we can't spend. You telling me Arsenal we're on 27 million spend in this window? That's all Nah, come on. I don't buy that. If we'd have actually sold Eddie for 25 million, we'd have only spent £2 million. We've just had one of the biggest US tours ever. Tickets going for $200-300. We've just made 100 million from Champions League. Kits are flying off the shelf. Training kits flying out. All the friendlies are sold out. Every home game sold out. I don't buy into it. I'm sorry. I believe the Kroenkes are tightening their pockets because they know we've got a good enough team to get top four, and top four keeps the money ticking over. They actually have to spend big money to win the league, and I don't think they want to spend big money. That's why I always look at the Kroenkes. For me, they're not ambitious enough, but time will tell. 10 days, people. Let's see what they do in the next 10 days. Anyone who tuned in yesterday to the show, me and Turkish show, OGs, was the breaking news came out while we were live, and that was the Eddie Nketiah news. And like you said, yeah, it's the Nuggets are their priority. They just signed Russ Westbrook. They got Jokic. They're going for the title. They ain't messing around. But here we're being told we can't buy Merino for 30 million. Come on. But anyway, let's talk about this. Eddie Nketiah. Ornstein dropped the bomb last night. Nottingham Forest, hometown club, are working on a deal to sign Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. Arsenal have rejected Forest's offer of £25 million plus add-ons for Eddie Nketiah. Arsenal want 30 to 35 million. Crystal Palace remain interested, but there's been no current talks. Every year they talk about Crystal Palace being interested in Nketiah. I've never seen Crystal Palace make an offer for him. It's mentioned Palace want him. You ever seen Palace actually make an offer? Because I've never seen it. The only thing I would say, let me try and give you some good news. It's not all doom and gloom. Somebody just put it in the chat as well. The rumor is that Santiago Jimenez, who they made an offer for from Feyenoord, the rumour is that Jimenez would potentially like to stay at Feyenoord for another season, despite Forest's offer. I think he sees it as, without sounding disrespectful to any Forest fan, the rumour is that he believes he can get a bigger move if he stays for another year. Scored 23 goals last year. He might see it as a risky move. And there it is. Master of Disaster just put it in. Santiago Jimenez prefers to spend another year at current club Feyenoord. Feyenoord and Forest also have large disparity in the valuation of the player after the €25 million bid was rejected. I will say this, and I'm sure a lot of you saw these pictures yesterday, and I heard about this earlier in the day, and I've also heard from somebody involved at Forest, Eddie's executive box at the Emirates, where his family and friends sit during the game, was seen being cleared out yesterday. Pictures being taken out, as you can see here, boxes being taken out and stuff like that. So it appears the deal is going to happen. That's not gospel. Anything can change in football. But it appears the deal is going to happen. They've offered 25. Arsenal have said, look, get to 30 and the deal's done. Forest need a striker. They wanted Santiago Nunes, not Muniz. Munez's goal, innit, in the goal film. He'd probably do a good job there. They wanted Santiago Jimenez, sorry. See, you got me saying Nunes now. They wanted Santiago Jimenez. Jimenez has decided to stay at Feyenoord for another year. He thinks he can get a bigger move next year. And now Eddie is their top target. They've offered 25. Arsenal want 30. The rumours are they're going to get to 30. And the deal will happen. Should have cleared out that box a year ago, but I'd take it. You're right. I suppose, you know, the power of now, it's where we are, not where we've been, people. So if this deal gets done, then cool. I have to say, Nottingham Forest, by the way, not all heroes wear capes, people. Forest, I don't know what they think about Arsenal, but I love it. They signed Nuno Tavares on loan. They realised real quick what that was about. They then signed Matt Turner for £10 million. I called him Tina Turner after his first game. People said I was being harsh. I think I was being harsh on Tina, to be honest, God rest her soul. And then now they're coming back with 30 million for Eddie Nketiah. Oh my days, Nottingham Forest. Thank you very much. I don't know what they think, but it's good. You know, we got more. We got more. There's a few more bits that we can give you if you want as well. If you want to sign a few more. But damn, Turner is now their third choice keeper. They paid 10 million for him, bro. Curtis working his nuts, bro. If I had them contacts, and they'll be angry with me right now. I hope this deal gets done, but just so that it opens the door to a potential signing. Give me a second. I got a delay. And no, it wasn't merch, people. It wasn't merch. No merch hairdos at the door. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, let's get back to it, people. Let's get back to it. Let's hope that happens with Eddie. Anyway, everyone. See, when I get a knock on the door, you always think it's merch, and he's gone to clear out Eddie's executive box. Just put a good player in that executive box. That's all I need. That's all I need. But it looks like Eddie's on his way. But we'll have to see with that one. I expect us to hear something maybe today. You know, Forest, you would think if they are keen to get that deal done. AFC Camden also tweeted yesterday that Eddie said his goodbyes to the players and the staff after the game against Wolves. So you don't really say goodbye and then clear out your box if you're not actually, if you're not getting the deal done. So surely that deal's getting done.
Sorry, give me a minute. Sorry, thank you.
Yes, bro. Deliveries again, people. More merch. Nah, not more merch. I'm joking. Yeah, you don't usually do that unless the deal's going to get done. So, yeah. Watch him give that executive box to Reece Nelson. Probably will. Yeah, imagine Eddie saying bye to all the players and then coming back a week later because the deal don't happen. It would be typical Arsenal, wouldn't it? Right, couple more stories to talk about. There's no more deliveries today. I apologize, people. Man, give me the wrong delivery box. Right, let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale. Arsenal are ready to demand a £6 million loan fee to let Aaron Ramsdale leave the club. Arsenal have been keen to sell Ramsdale in a permanent move this summer, but interested clubs have been put off by their high asking price, understood to be between 30 to 40 million pounds. Wolves had a loan offer rejected for him yesterday. It was a loan with an option to buy. Shocking offer for Arsenal, really. I suppose some people would say you get 100 grand a week off the wage bill. If he does well at Wolves, maybe you get a decent fee for him next summer. I don't know how Arsenal should approach this situation. I want to know from you guys in the chat. What do you think we do? What do you think we should do with Aaron Ramsdale in the next 10 days? I'm looking at it like this. My thing at the start of the summer was you either sell him for a reasonable price or you keep him. He's too good to be loaned out, surely. You're talking about England's second choice goalkeeper that was actually pushing Pickford to get him out of the team when he was starting for Arsenal. All of a sudden, we can't even get the £30 million that we paid for him because people are looking at it going, we've just sat on the bench for 12 months. We're not paying 30 million for you. We know Arsenal want to sell you. We know you want to leave. You're on 100 grand a week again. His contract should not be as high as that. I don't know how we handle this situation. If you keep him for another 12 months on the bench, what does that do to him as a player? But I suppose I'm being selfish from an Arsenal point of view. I'm kind of thinking, well, at least we know we're covered in the goalkeeper role if anything happens to David Raya. Goalkeepers can pull their hamstrings, can get injured. At least you know Ramsdale's there. To me, loaning him with an option, I think is a terrible deal. Even though, yeah, you get the 100 grand off the books and there's the potential that he does well and then you can sell him. For me, if it's not an obligation, I just don't see how we benefit from that. And what if he goes on loan and doesn't do well? Then you're back to square one. They don't want him. He's back at Arsenal. You're stuck. So for me, it's a tough one because the owners will be saying, get him off the wage bill. The owners will be saying, bro, even if that's a loan with an option, get him out. Get that 100 grand out. I kind of feel like if you're buying him, you can buy him. If it's a loan with an obligation, you can do that. If it's a loan with an option, from a selfish point of view, I kind of feel like I would reject that. Just thinking from an Arsenal point of view, City have got Ortega as Ederson's backup. Am I trying to, loan out Ramsdale to bring in some bang average goalkeeper? What if Raya gets injured and then we're playing some meaty goalkeeper in a title race? So I kind of feel like, as sad as it is, people saying, he's lost his smile. Bro, we got to think about Arsenal. Like, if no one's buying you, bro, you know what I mean? I feel like you got to stay. That's where I'm at with it. I might be sounding very harsh here. Somebody buys you or you stay here, bro. Loan with an option. I'm sorry, mate. You're England's second choice goalkeeper. You're on 100 grand a week. I'm actually shocked that nobody has bought Aaron Ramsdale. Like, genuinely. It's crazy to think at £30 million, nobody has bought Aaron Ramsdale. I'm really surprised. When I look at the league, I'm thinking Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Leicester, Fulham, I'd say he's better than Leno. I mean, Wolves have got Jose Sarr, but there were rumours of him going. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked he hasn't got a move at least to a mid-table Premier League club. It just shows that the way we rate Aaron Ramsdale, the rest of the league obviously doesn't look at him like that. And I think the problem in football is out of sight, out of mind. Aaron Ramsdale has sat on Arsenal's bench for pretty much the whole season. And when you're not playing, people forget about you. If we'd have sold him last season in the summer after a good season, and then I think clubs would have paid good money for him. The fact that he's had a year out of the team, you know, he came in for a couple games, he looks shaky. People saying the interview done him. He said he struggles to concentrate. His dad's doing interviews. He's lost his smile. Maybe collectively, all of that put together, people are saying, nah, do you know what? I take him maybe at 15 million. And again, this is the issue that I said before. He's on £100,000 a week. The wages that Arsenal give to players at times is too high. If you're signing a top player, no problem. Aaron Ramsdale was at, Sheffield United on like 40,000 a week. He shouldn't be on 100 grand a week. Ederson's on 100 grand a week. Ramsdale should not be on the same wages as Ederson. Reece Nelson's on 100. Eddie's on 100. Stephen said shocking how he's been treated. Do you know what? I'm in a category of I don't think it is shocking how he's been treated. It's brutal, but it's not shocking. It's football. It's I always said he can't complain about the same thing happening to him what happened to Bernd Leno. He was signed. Oh no, Leno's number one. We all know it was a matter of time. The moment Ramsdale got in the team, Leno's career was over at Arsenal. He's now had the same thing happen to him. Oh no, Raya's only been brought in as competition. Hey, I'll have a few more games. Raya gets in, you never get your place back. Whether we like it or not, Raya has been an upgrade on Ramsdale. That's the reality. I didn't even think he was better than Ramsdale at first, David Raya. The reality is he's a better goalkeeper. Maybe not much better, but he's better. He's better at collecting crosses. He keeps more clean sheets. His distribution. He's outstanding on the ball. He's a better goalkeeper. It's football. Football doesn't care about feelings. It's the most ruthless sport in the world. I don't feel sorry for him. And that might sound brutal. We signed him from Sheffield United in the Championship. We've made him a multi-millionaire. We've made him an England international. And he'll get a good move somewhere else. We've looked after him. He got dropped for a better goalkeeper. That's the reality of top-level sport. Yeah, you would. Listen, I'm sure some of you got work stories where, you know, you've really been mistreated at work and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's football. It's football, man. It's what happens. He's leaving the club in a better situation than he arrived at. So, but yeah, I think 6 million loan fee. Wolves are the club interested, but Jose Sarr's there. So unless he goes, I don't see how he goes there. We could be in a situation where he stays. Apparently Southampton want him on loan again with an option. There's no way Southampton can buy him on 100 grand. Southampton are one of the favourites to get relegated. So, again, I don't see how, if he went on loan to Southampton, I don't see how Southampton buy him. Unless they stay up, which I'm not sure they will stay up. So I just don't know where we're at with Aaron Ramsdale at the moment. I really don't. But we'll have to see. We'll see on that one. What do you guys think? Do you know what? Let's change that poll where we were talking about Mikel Merino. Because to be honest, just bored of talking about that guy. 67% say you wouldn't pay 40 million for him. 33% say yes. Let's do another poll. Final poll of the day. Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale's future. How am I going to actually structure this question? Sell, keep. All right, no, listen, obviously you would all sell him. Loan with an option or keep him. I'm going to give you just those two. Obviously, if we could sell him or get a loan with an obligation, we're going to take that. if it was only loan with an option to buy or keep him, which one would you do out of those two? Because they're the two most likely at the moment. So we're going to work with what seems to be on the table. I think we can all agree if we get a loan with an obligation or we get a transfer offer for him, we'll get rid of him. But I'll be honest, I'm thinking about Arsenal. I'll keep him. You got to sit down, bro. It's the reality of football. Try and put pressure on Raya, man. Don't give up. Put pressure on him. If you get in the team, do something. Make 4 worldy saves and, improve your distribution on the ball. He's taller and younger than David Raya. He should still be sitting there saying, yo, I can fight this fight. I can get back in this Arsenal team. I'm taller than him. Improve your distribution. But you can't just give up. Even if you got to get your head down and work hard until January and maybe you move on in January, things might change. I would keep him. At least, as a fan, you look at it then and you go, right, in goal we're sorted. We got Rail. Worst case scenario, we got Ramsdale. Setford's the third choice, the youngster. He can learn from those two. I'm good with that. He makes long-range passes. Curtis puts teams on. He is quite good with the long passing. It's just the short passing. And when he gets the ball, it's a bit nervy. Listen, I'm not saying that Arteta will just drop Raya for Ramsdale, but you need to put pressure on him. Who knows? Raya could get sent off, could get an injury. You get in the team, you've got to show what you're about. Force the manager to make a decision. So that's where I'm at. I'm keeping him unless somebody makes a big offer or loan with an obligation. Very interesting yesterday. Declan Rice did a short interview with Rio Ferdinand. Basically, there was a quote from Rice about Havertz, and then there's also a story in the Daily Mirror today about Kai Havertz. And basically, Rio Ferdinand said to Declan Rice, do you need a new number 9, a striker for this summer? Declan Rice's response was, we don't need a number 9. Havertz is our guy. Which, and again, this story in the Mirror, maybe they're just jumping off the back of this. I don't know how much factual information they've got. But the Mirror are running and saying that Arsenal have decided that Kai Havertz will be our main striker this summer and we are not going to go into the market. You know my thoughts and opinions on that. I think I've said it about 100 times this summer. Havertz has improved. I've got no problem with him getting a lot of game time, but I would have bought a striker. There's just no doubt that I would have bought a striker to compete with him. I even look at the game on Saturday. I actually gave Havertz a high rating in that game because he got a goal and assist. But I even look at that game on Saturday and think with a more clinical striker, I think that game would have been over by half time. I thought Wolves were poor in the first half. We dominated, we created chances, we didn't finish our chances. And it got a bit nervy. If Raya doesn't make a great save, that can be a totally different game. So, listen, let me give Havertz some of his flowers, because if he is our main man, we got to back him. I'm not happy about that alone. And you never know, maybe if Eddie goes, maybe they change their mind and go for someone else. But let me give him some respect on what he's done. Since playing as a striker for Arsenal from the start of a game, in 14 starts, he's had 17 goal involvements. That's 9 goals and 8 assists. That is decent. I have to give that credit. That is decent. And as I said, the thought process of Arsenal, whether you agree with it, whether I agree with it, whether any Arsenal fan agrees with it, their thought process is going to be, if Havertz has given us 17 goal involvements in 14 games, what could he produce over 38 league games? How would that look? He might be able to produce 30 to 35 goal involvements if you're adding goals and the assists together. And I think that's what they're running with. It's risky, but I do think he will get numbers. Listen, there's no denying the numbers. As you said, Dimo, the numbers are there, and I'm not denying the numbers one bit. And listen, like you all said, Declan Rice ain't going to disrespect Havertz and say, yo, you're right, we need a striker. This brother ain't good enough. I get that. But it's just about being a bit more clinical for me. Don't have 4 chances to score 1 goal. And in the big games, can you be 1 chance, 1 goal in those big games? That's what I'm looking at with him. One thing's for sure, he's improved massively, and I honestly think he improves the team in general, because now he's also very good in the air. He's got very good link-up play, and he's starting to score goals. And it's just, are you capable of being the man? We were speaking about it the other day. Firmino at Liverpool didn't need to score 20 because he had 2 wingers that scored 20 in Salah and Mane. At the moment, if you were betting, you would say Saka could get to 20. Martinelli and Trossard, I'm not so sure. They will be rotated. So then, because we've only got 1 player in that front 3 that might get 20 goals, I am looking at Havertz and saying, bro, you've probably got to get 20 for us to win a league title. Whether he can get that or not, I think Arsenal are rolling the dice. They're rolling the dice on it. And there is risk. There is a risk attached to keeping him as the main striker. But we'll see. Z said, we have a great team with great chemistry. Fact, why are you so sure a new striker wins as the league? Recent monster Man City, best Premier League team of all time. Well, I think that, for me, in the question you're asking me is kind of the answer. I agree with you. Great team with great chemistry. I'm not sure. Well, you can never be totally convinced that a new player is going to change your team. Big players have come to clubs in England and flopped and struggled. But the fact you're saying is, City, you're saying they're the best Premier League team of all time. If that's the case, I don't think you can have question marks in your team around what a player is going to do. When Liverpool took the title off Man City, I knew what their team was and I knew what they were going to do. I knew that Firmino was probably the best false 9 in the Premier League, maybe in the world. I knew that Mane and Salah were going to bag a whole heap of goals. And that's why they took the league off Man City, because you knew what was going to happen. We're still not sure of our attack. We don't know what Martinelli's going to do on the left, and we're not sure what Havertz is going to do through the middle. I tell you what I am certain of. I'm certain that if Haaland stays fit, he'll probably score 30 league goals this season. Not even 20, 30. He scored 27 last year. He was out for 2 months. Now, that is the difference. We need to know what we're getting out of our attack. If Havertz scores 20 plus goals and Saka gets 20... and like you said, that's a great point. Martinelli and Trossard get 20 between them. Then maybe we win the title. But as you said, we're up against a monster. So we need to have crazy strength in depth. If you look at the depth of our defence right now, Calafiori, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Tomiyasu, and even behind that, you've got the likes of, Luis Skelly, Zinchenko, Kivior. We're overloaded with defenders. When we talk about our front line, we do not have the same level of quality in that attack and depth. I mean, Havertz 25 goals is a stretch. 20, I'll be happy. Maybe 25 in all comps. We don't have that same strength in depth. You're talking about Martinelli, who's not been in form. You're talking about Trossard, who hasn't been able to consistently keep that form up. The Stella or Trossard performances. You're then talking about Havertz, who's not a natural striker, so we don't know what we're going to get, even though he is improving massively. And you're then talking about Gabriel Jesus, who hasn't proved to be the answer. The only thing we're certain of in our attack is Bukayo Saka. That's the only player. And then behind him, you've got Reece Nelson, who we're not certain of. So you're talking about 3 positions up front, 6 players, and we're not really certain what we're going to get out of 5 of those 6. And that, for me, is the problem. That, for me, is the problem. And that's why I think we need to add someone else. To be honest, I'll be totally honest. Over the last 3 months, a lot of you have been saying, nah, get a left winger. And I've been like, nah, man, we don't need a left winger. We got Martinelli and Trossard, and we need the striker. We need the right winger to back up Saka. I'll be honest, people. I'm open-minded about what a lot of you have been saying. I'll be real. I thought the left wing spot was a closed shop. No reason to buy a left winger. I am starting to think left wing is definitely another issue. Don't get me wrong. I said the other day I am capping for Martinelli and hoping he turns it around. But to be the best, we got to be ruthless. You've seen the way Pep, Sterling, thank you for the titles, on your bike. Aguero, yeah, you're crying, but you released him. So I'm with, people. Those of you that were talking left winger, I put my hands up. I see what you were saying. I'm still hoping with a Timber at left back, maybe with a Merino playing left centre mid, we can restore that left-hand side and get the Martinelli of 2 years ago. But if we don't, yeah, I'm with you on that. I hear it. I hear it. Kovar from Napoli, yeah, I would love to get him. Absolutely love to get him, by the way. I think he's a brilliant player. Some of you have given up on Martin. Nah, man, I haven't given up. One more year, we'll back him. We'll give him one more. But I'm convinced that Arteta wanted Nico Williams. And you've also got to ask yourself, why was he prepared to pay 70 or 80 million for Mudryk? If he felt Martinelli was that good, would you have tried to buy Mudryk at 70 million pounds? Maybe Arteta is not fully convinced by Martinelli. And when you look at the way Martinelli plays, Arteta is a very Pep-esque manager. He probably gets very frustrated with Martinelli. Those kind of managers like intelligent wingers that keep the ball well. And he is not that. So, yeah, listen, I'm glad we didn't get Mudryk when you look how terrible he's been. But, it's interesting. Listen, big up everyone locked in. 2.5K locked in. Really appreciate your support as always. Amaru said, big up on your milestone 80k. Do you think subbing Saka in the 80th minute clearly shows Teta is not going for a right winger and wants to manage Saka? Again, for me, unless you see Reece Nelson sign for someone, I don't think there's no chance we sign a right winger. Also, the fact that Jesus played right wing against Manchester City last season. And he did really well against Vardio. I think Arteta, he likes players that can move and rotate. I think he's going to possibly keep Nelson and he'll look at Jesus as Saka's backup. And I don't think we're going to sign a right winger. I think if we were going to sign a right winger, Elise or Neto, we would have tried to buy one of them. We've been linked with Neto for years. So I don't see a right winger coming in. I'd like us to, but I don't think we will. Guna Birdie said, Curtis, was that a red stripe delivery? Bro, we got a lot coming up over the next 10 days, man. Like you said, Champions League draw, transfer window closing. We might need some. I would love Leroy Sané. Oh, I've wanted him at Arsenal for years. I don't think it's ever going to happen. J. Dime, Curtis, let me ask you this. Honestly, do you think we'll win the league if we don't buy a striker? I've said it openly on this channel. If we don't buy a striker, I don't think we win the title. If we win the title without buying a striker, Mikel, you are a genius, mate. Honestly. If you deliver that title with Havertz up front, oh my, listen, you are a genius. I'm honest. I'm honest, people. Haaland missed 8 weeks. De Bruyne missed 5 months. I just think... Because the problem you've got... Even if Havertz scores like 18, 19, 20 goals, Haaland's going to score 30 goals. Even if Saka gets 20 goals, Foden's probably going to get 18, 19 goals. So, you're fighting against something crazy here. It'll be nothing but hope. Give me hope, Joanna, give me hope, Joanna, give me hope. It's nothing but hope. Right, again, yeah, listen, I apologise. I don't think I finish a show without mentioning Ivan Toney. But, listen, Osimhen's probably going to end up at Chelsea. Gyökeres, that one's gone quiet again. Alan Pardew stirred the pot on TalkSport last night. He said, let me tell you, I know Ivan Toney's agent personally. I think he would like the boy to go to Arsenal. There you go. There's a bit of insight. I know that he thought that might be a good fit for the boy. Listen, from what I'm hearing, it looks like Ivan Toney's about to cash out and go to Saudi and maybe given up on a big Premier League move. So I don't think that's going to happen. He's probably sat there and said, look, I haven't got the big move. Do I stay at Brentford in a relegation battle or do I go to Saudi? Apparently he's been offered $300,000 a week to go to Saudi. So looks like he's cashing out. Guna Genk said Havertz is not consistent enough to be the main striker. I mean, that's how I feel, but he is in good form, so all we can do is hope by the look of it. Retro Grill, Martinelli centre forward, Jesus on the wing. They've never really gone with Martinelli up front, have they? I remember Kev, we used to talk about it, man, and Kev said, look, I don't think Martinelli with his back to goal could do it, but could you play him on the shoulder the way that kind of Vardy plays? But then you've got to play a certain style of football, which maybe we don't play. So, yeah. Mr. Mardo said we need a finisher. It's Lookman for me. I mean, Lookman was great in the Europa League. Is he good enough for Arsenal? I'm not sure. And Brian said Kai is not what we want as a striker, but he's doing the business. I think he has earned the chance to lead the line to start the season at least. And listen, as I said, psychologically, I've already switched off from the possibility of us getting a striker. If we get a striker, I will be in shock. So for me, yeah, Havertz is going to be Arsenal's striker this season. I'm hoping that Eddie going to Forest at least opens the door to Arsenal bringing in an attacking player, even if that is a winger. Add somebody to that attack. I feel we need a different dimension. You know, bring in a winger that's, quick and can dribble and scores goals, or bring in a right winger that's different to Saka, or somebody that can maybe play up front and play on the wing. Just give us something different. People, want to thank you all for tuning in. Great numbers today, 2.5K. Really appreciate your support. Big up my bro Akeem. He said, go get Gyökeres. He's still banging goals in. Again, it's another interesting situation. You look at Gyökeres, the amount of goals he scored. The question I'm asking myself is, why has nobody made an offer for him? Scored 40 goals in all competition last season. He's 26. He scored 3 in his first 2 games of the season. Nobody's made an offer for him. Why? I think Darwin Núñez has scared people. I think Darwin Núñez did the business in Portugal. 1 season, 80 million, 70 million, hasn't worked, and you're stuck with him. And I think people are looking at Gyökeres and going, listen, it's a hell of a season, but it's the Portuguese league, man. Is that going to add up the same way in the Premier League? 70, 80 million pounds for him is a lot of money. But we'll see. Let me end this poll. Ramsdale's future. Would you loan him with an option or would you keep him? 54% say keep him. Personally, unless somebody's paying money for Aaron Ramsdale, I would keep him at Arsenal. Why am I loaning him out with an option? Probably end up back with him next summer. LSU has been telling me all summer, be patient. The market has changed. Judge it when it's done. And I hear you. Window closes next Friday, 11 p.m. People, thank you very much for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.